to the Bad Influence Cheat Special. Are you puzzling over Parodius, perplexed by Prince of Persia, or even perturbed by Pit Fighter? Later in the show, our special mystery superhero Cheat Boy will be revealing all.
Who was that handsome man? You might want to video this week's programme for future reference. We'll also be looking at what could be the most exciting development in the history of television. Three-dimensional pictures that you can see without wearing special glasses.
Our main review this week is Killer Instinct on the SNES.
And Violet reports from California on a new 3D sound system that will help blind people find their way around strange places.
Ow! Despite being a top NBA jammer, I'm having real problems with one of my bumbling players. This is a job for Cheat Boy.
Fear not, oh Sonia. Fresh-faced young Cheat Boy is here to solve all your gaming catastrophes.
Ah, NBA Tournament Edition on the SNES, eh? Simple. This cheat will give you an extra special super secret player to help you dribble and get to the finals. On the initial screen, hold down Start, highlight R and press B, highlight O and press A, highlight Y and release Start and press A. You'll now be able to dribble like a demon with Royal Rumbler, His Royal Highness Prince Charles.
Can you help us out with some more?
Do I have the physique of an anorexic pipe cleaner? Lead me to him.
Right, Nadia, what seems to be your problem?
I can't complete Daytona USA. I need faster cars.
Have no fear, young lady. Cheat Boy will save the day. With this cheat, you'll be able to choose from the fastest cars in the game without completing any of the tracks in first place. Oh, yes. On the title screen, hold down up left and A, B, X and Z together. You may need two hands for this one. Then press Start, then select Saturn mode and select a track. You should now be able to choose from any of the fastest cars or even be a horse.
Gee, thanks, Cheat Boy.
All in a day's work for Cheat Boy now, yeah.
Greg, what's your problem?
I'm always running out of ammunition in Earthworm Jim on the Mega Drive.
Then take heed, young'un. For Cheat Boy will say this only once. This cheat will enable you to pause the game at any time and reload your gun, if I may. Pause the game and press A, B, 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 C, A, C, C. And when you unpause the game, your gun will reload with 1,000 bullets.
Thanks, Cheat Boy.
No trouble at all, young man. No trouble at all.
It looks like a bit of superhero help is needed over here, Cheat Boy. Matthew's having problems with Theme Park on the Amiga.
Theme Park? Why, that's the easiest of the lot. Enter your nickname as Mike when you start the game. Now, when you're playing, you can boost your money by pressing C. Z gives you all the rides, and I, all the shops.
Thank you, Cheat Boy.
No trouble at all, my boy. No trouble at all.
That's brilliant. Hang on. I recognise that cheesy grin. You're not Gainsbuster extraordinaire Cheat Boy at all. You're mild-mannered presenter Andy Crane.
Oh, rats! The game's up. What gave me away, son?
The underpants, Andy.
Oh.
Those cheats and loads more are available on our worldwide web pages. Now, our main review this week is the arcade sensation Killer Instinct on the SNES. As well as special moves and ultimate moves, you can pull off multi-hit combos which throw your opponent arcing across the rooftops. There are 10 characters to choose from, plus at least one secret fighter, Idol. There's even the option to choose the colour of your character's outfit. What more could you want? Here's Adam.
It's another game entering a very crowded beat-em-up market. It's going to find it hard to compete, especially with a £60 price tag. One original feature that this game has is a practice mode where you get another character who doesn't fight back or lose any energy to beat upon and practice special moves on for as long as you want. Unlike a lot of other fighting games, this one doesn't work on a round system. You have to take 2 energy bars away from your opponent. You can string together a number of moves in a combination, which is very frustrating if you're having it done to you, because you need a special move to be able to stop it. Similar to Mortal Kombat, each character has their own special finishing move. This is Full Gauze. This is a better game to watch than to play. At £60, I'd rather get one of the Street Fighter games.
Don't expect arcade quality effects in this version, but overall it's a good beat-em-up.
It's not exactly groundbreaking stuff, but it's still a good game to play.
And the scores for Killer Instinct. The boys gave it a we've seen it all before 3, but the girls were slightly more impressed and managed 4.
Hi, I'm in Santa Barbara this week, which is right in the middle of the West Coast surf scene. And this is Danielle, who's offered to show me around town. Danielle's 13, and she likes doing the same things as all her friends. So, what have we got here? Bikinis. Danielle is also visually impaired. She can make out shapes, but everything is a bit blurred. Although most of the time she doesn't let it stop her doing the things she enjoys, there are occasions when it can be a problem. If she goes to a completely new city, she has no way of finding her way around. Ordinary maps are useless. But just up the road at the University of California, they're working on a system that might change all that. The Professor of Geography has a personal interest in the project.
Suddenly, disastrously, overnight, I lost my sight. Without any warning, I didn't know what to do about it. Jack Loomis came in with an idea of using satellites to locate us using something called a global positioning system.
Jack Loomis is the Professor of Psychology, and he teamed up with Professor Golich to develop the idea. They knew that the global positioning satellites could transmit a signal to a handheld receiver like this, which would identify your location and display it as a map reference. When you switch the receiver on, it immediately starts searching for satellites up in space, and as soon as it's locked on to 3 or more satellites, it can calculate its position to an accuracy of between 10 and 30 metres. Now, that's pretty amazing, but to a blind person, it's completely useless. I mean, there's a big difference between standing here and standing 10 metres away over there. At the university, they've got round this problem by putting in a ground station. It can correct for errors, making the system accurate to within a metre. Which means if you superimpose the GPS information over a map of the university, you can actually track my position as I walk around. The problem was how to take the GPS information and turn it from a visual map into something a blind person can use. Now, blind people normally rely mainly on what they can hear, so Jack thought, wouldn't it be a great idea if all the buildings and places around about could talk to you? I'm the bank.
I'm the gas station.
I'm the mailbox.
So, if, for example, a snack bar could tell you where it was, and it sounded like it was coming from that direction...
I'm the snack bar.
Then a blind person could use that information to work out exactly where they were and how they could get to wherever they wanted to go to.
I'm still the snack bar.
I hear lunch calling. So, after all their hard research, here it is, the Prototype Personal Guidance System, or PGS for short. And Jerry Teets, the chief technician on the project, has been giving Danielle a few lessons on how it works. So, Jerry, how does it work?
Well, this is the antenna that picks up the signals from the satellites overhead. And this is the satellite receiver. On the other side is an antenna which picks up the correction signals from our base station. And then this is a speech synthesizer which causes the buildings to speak their names. Like the library would say library over and over. On top of the earphones is a compass so that the computer can tell which direction the person's head is pointing, so that the sound of the buildings appears to come from the correct directions, even though the person turns the head.
The prototype is ridiculously large and cumbersome, but they hope the finished one will be about the size of a Walkman. OK, time for Danielle to put the personal guidance system through its paces.
Chemistry. Point 1. Physics.
Danielle's hearing 2 different sets of information. She can hear the buildings calling out to her.
Chemistry.
So she can work out where she is.
Chemistry.
That should be the chemistry building over there.
Chemistry.
And she can also hear a series of points being called out, which are guiding her to where she's arranged to meet some friends.
Point 1.
That's point 1 calling to her, and it's straight ahead.
Point 1.
When she gets to point 1, then the voice switches to point 2.
Switching. Point 2. Physics. Point 2. Physics. Point 2.
OK, so it may be clumsy and uncomfortable, and it'll never replace a guide dog or cane. But once it's down to the size of a Walkman, it does mean that people like Danielle will no longer be dependent on clumsy friends like me whenever they go to a new place.
The personal guidance system is still at the development stage, and the plan is to create audio maps for cities all over the world.
Time now for this week's news and previews.
If you've ever harboured dreams of being a knight in shining armour, then have a look at this.
Hello.
Chronicles of the Sword is a point-and-click adventure game that puts you in the sandals of a young knight-errant trying to prove his mettle in the court of King Arthur. Chronicle of the Sword is out next spring on the PlayStation, with the PC CD-ROM to follow.
Out soon are 2 new add-ons that could magically transform your Saturn. Put in this, and it becomes a photo CD player, allowing you to use a state-of-the-art console to view your holiday snaps. This cartridge, however, is a little more impressive. It lets you view movie CDs and music videos.
If you're after a PC racing game that's more than just a Ridge Racer clone, then check out Big Red Racing. The game features an array of unusual vehicles to control, like rubber dinghies, and a variety of fast-moving 3D environments to race in. Its programmers also worked on the classic Micro Machines 2, so it should play as good as it looks. Big Red Racing is due out on the PC at the end of November.
Last year, Wing Commander 3 made history by being the first interactive movie that was also a half-decent game. This year, Wing Commander 4 aims to repeat that formula, but on a bigger, more flashy scale. Costing $9 million to produce, it's reckoned to be the most expensive computer game ever. Like its predecessor, the game stars Mark I'm More Than Just Luke Skywalker Hamill, who plays a hotshot space pilot. It's out on PC CD-ROM in December, with other formats to follow.
Now some more of this week's game releases, reviewed by our expert panel. Those suicidal stars, the Lemmings, leap into the third dimension this week on the PlayStation and PC. The aim, as always, is to guide the Lemmings to safety through a 3D world filled with traps and obstacles. The game features 10 themed sections with 100 levels in all. But will 3D Lemmings have you leaping for joy or leaping off the cliff? Here's Paul.
The Lemmings are back in this great game. It has all the original humour of the first, but with even more frustrating gameplay. The gameplay is the same as the original. You give the Lemmings jobs. Here's a builder. This game is not a game for an inexperienced player. You always have to be thinking of your next move. You can use either a mouse or a joypad. I found it easier using the joypad because you have more buttons. There are several different views. You can zoom in, zoom out, or use the camera to get a better position. My favourite view, though, is the virtual lemming. You get to see it through the lemming's eyes. Every time you complete 20 levels, you get a little Boy Scout badge and an animation as a reward. If you're a puzzle fan, this is the best game on the PlayStation, but it is very hard, so you won't finish it quickly.
It's a game you have to be patient with. It takes time to get to know it. I like the different views.
It's frustrating at first, but once you get into it, it becomes compulsive.
And the scores for 3D Lemmings, both the girls and the boys gave it a pretty good 4 out of 5. A few weeks ago, we gave away one of these as a competition prize, the Virtual Boy. Now, it's an unusual handheld because it gives you a 3D image that is a picture with a sense of depth. It works because inside the machine there are 2 tiny TV screens that each produce a different picture to each eye, and that's what gives you the sense of depth.
It is possible to create a 3D image on a single monitor, and we've shown you several systems in the past on Bad Influence, but all of them involve wearing rather embarrassing eyewear. This system, for example, creates the 2 images by projecting 2 different colours. Wearing these glasses, you would see the red image with your left eye, the blue one blocked out, and the blue image with your right eye, the red one will be blocked out. So left, red, blue, right, 2 images. Hey presto, 3D. We filmed a far more sophisticated version of this system at a computer graphics show a couple of years ago. This one works because the TV screen rapidly switches between the right and left pictures, and at the same time, the lenses in the glasses go alternately light and dark. Again, different images provided to different eyes, so depth. Everyone agrees it will be brilliant to play video games in 3D, but everyone agrees you look very sad wearing glasses like this and won't wear them at the arcade. Well, now, you don't have to, because this system produces 3D pictures without having to wear the silly glasses. You are watching at home in 2D, so you can't get a full idea of the 3D, but Les, if I can just borrow your camera, thank you very much, I should be able to give you an idea of the depth. And Sonia, you stand perfectly still. Now, as I move round to the left, there is the beginning of the picture. As I move round to the right, you should be able to see, look, round the side of the gun Sonia's holding, and then round the other side. There's definitely a feeling of depth to that picture, and if you needed further proof, look at the lampshade behind Sonia's head. That's definitely moving in relation to her. All very clever, but how does it work?
Now, here at the glamorous end of 3D TV, I'm being filmed by 6 cameras at once, and each one is seeing me from a slightly different angle. So there's camera 1 on the far left, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4, camera 5, and camera 6. Each camera sends a picture in turn to 3D TV here. And at the back, there's a TV. And at the front, there's some very clever lenses and optics.
And what those lenses and optics do, go back, is project the images from the 6 cameras in such a way as I can only see them from a certain angle. I'll try and show you what I mean. Over to the left, you can't see anything. There's camera 1, there's camera 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and out. Now, that's all well and good when you're looking with one eye, like a television camera, but remember, as a human standing here, I'm looking with 2 eyes. So if I stand here, my left eye might be seeing camera 1, my right eye is probably seeing camera 3. If I move across a little bit, my left eye might be seeing camera 2, and my right eye, camera 4. Wherever I stand, I'm seeing 2 different images. 2 images, depth.
Now, if instead of using 6 cameras, you used one computer to generate 6 images, you got yourself a 3D video game.
Like this one. This is 3D Breakout, a game specially designed for the system. You play it with an air mouse like this, and the object of the exercise is to knock out all the blocks on the back wall, and it's great fun.
The bad news is that at the moment it's all very expensive. This prototype version alone costs over £100,000.
But the good news is the developers hope to have 3D game systems like this in the arcades by this time next year. So watch this three-dimensional space. 3D
TV sounds like science fiction, but here it is. So perhaps one day we will have ray guns, intelligent robots, and even time machines. One person who certainly hopes so is our very own space monster, Violet Berlin.
Doctor Who, travel through time and space, parallel universes, genetic engineering, fantastic alien life forms. It's no wonder that science fiction has got its fans, and I'm one of them. This week, I got a bit overexcited when I discovered that the Grolier Encyclopedia of Science Fiction has been squeezed into this. So, how has it benefited from its multimedia makeover? Well, the first thing I clicked on were the movie clips, which seem mainly to be trailers for 50s crowd pullers like The Blob. Special effects have come a long way since that was shot. Unfortunately, time also seems to have moved on since most of the other graphic material was created. There are movie posters and photos from the original Star Trek, but nothing on more contemporary classics like The X-Files. But the CD more than makes up for it with the words. No, really, surfing through by clicking on hypertext links, I came across some fascinating stuff, including a catalogue of common scientific errors. For example, did you know there's something fatally wrong with all those scenes where you see a starship exploding noisily in space? A sound wave can't travel in a vacuum, so in real life it would be deadly silent. It also points out that the giant spiders out of monster movies couldn't ever exist. Once the creepy crawly grew to a certain size, its spindly legs would be unable to support the heavier body, so it would collapse under its own weight. Ah!
Virtual Violets proving that not all science fiction fans are sad animals. This week's competition prize is a SNES with Killer Instinct, and we have a science fiction question. Why can't you hear spacecraft exploding in space? Is it because A, there's no air, B, there's lots of rocks, or C, there's too much radiation? Phone in your answer on 0891 800 300, that's 0891 800 300. Calls will cost no more than 25 pence. Lines close at midnight on Sunday, but most important of all, please get permission from whoever pays the phone bill before you dial.
Now, last week's competition prize was an Amiga with software including the great new game Worms. And we asked what computer language was Worms originally programmed in. The answer is BASIC. Now, we had over 6,000 entries, but the winner is Debbie Smith from Glasgow. 10 runners up get Bad Influence, Bad Crew t-shirts, and their names are running across the screen right now.
So well done to you. Don't forget to watch next week, because we're going behind the scenes of a star-studded video game.
It's called The Darkening, and we leave you with a clip of it. Bye.
See ya.